In a dry, forgotten village, where the earth cracked under the weight of poverty, lived Yaqub, a quiet farmer with 3 daughters, Syra, Hina, and Mariam. Life had not been kind to him. His wife died young, and the responsibility of raising 3 little girls fell entirely on his tired shoulders. He had no land of his own, just a small patch he rented to grow wheat. The crops often failed under the scorching sun, and the debts grew heavier each year. The villagers pitied him, not because he was poor, but because he had only daughters. Who will support you when you grow old? Daughters eat from your hand, but never put anything in it. Send them to work, not to school. These words weren't rare, they were daily. Yaqub would smile quietly, his weathered face lined with dignity. One day, he'd whisper to himself, these girls will make the world look at them differently. But the struggle was immense. There were days they slept hungry. Syra would offer her roti to her younger sisters. Hina would fetch water from the well a mile away, because they couldn't afford a bucket after the last one cracked. Mariam, the youngest, cried quietly at night because her sandals were broken and she couldn't ask for new ones. She knew Baba didn't have the money. The girls walked to school barefoot through fields and mud, carrying their books in plastic bags. Sometimes they were taunted by other children. Why come to school if you can't even afford lunch? Your father grows wheat but can't feed you. But they kept walking, not because it was easy, but because they believed in something bigger than themselves. There were moments that broke them. When Syra got selected for a scholarship in the city, they had no money for the train ticket. Yaqub sold the last silver bangle of his wife to get her there. He smiled as he gave her the ticket, but cried all night under the neem tree in silence. When Hina failed her math exam once, she was devastated. The teacher told her, "Girls like you should just stay home." She went home, locked herself in, and almost gave up. But Syra called her from the city and said, "Failing once doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're learning." Mariam faced the hardest time. Writing was her dream, but she had no paper, no pen. She used the back of her sister's old notebooks and even the walls of the house, scribbling her stories. When one of her poems was published, she didn't even know, until someone came to their village asking for the girl who wrote about pain. Years passed. Syra became a doctor, Hina a school principal, Mariam a published author whose writings reached beyond borders. Their names were spoken with pride, not pity, and the same village that once whispered doubts now held them in admiration. "Yaqub's daughters are a blessing," they said. "Look at how far they've come. They're changing this village, one life at a time." At a school function, Syra was invited as chief guest. She stood at the same podium where once her father stood humbly, asking for a school fee waiver. Her voice trembled as she said, "We were born in struggle, raised in doubt, but our Father believed in us when no one else did. We were not a burden, we were seeds waiting to bloom." Yaqub, sitting in the front row, wept like a child. They were no longer the poor farmer's daughters, they were the pride of the land. The weight of poverty, the noise of doubt, and the silence of struggle cannot break a girl whose heart is full of dreams. Daughters, when supported, become storms of change. Every sacrifice made for them is not lost. It returns, multiplied in strength, pride, and legacy.